Sechta Makos, the Vav Amar Aleph. We're starting from the top line where it's still in the middle of the Mishnah. So the Mishnah brings a machlekes of Tanaim. In which way was it said that if one of the Eidim were a cut of an apostle, that the Eidus is apostle? When do we say that if one of the Eidim were a cut of an apostle, the whole Eidus becomes batal b'din nefashis? Only by the nefashis, because the Torah says v'tzilu Eidim. That means Bazna are commanded to look for a way to save the accused. Aval b'din mamnis. But when it comes to din mamnis, we don't say that. Rather, even the naifin that one of the Eidim were a cut of an apostle, is kaim Eidus bishar, that the Eidus will, even if there's one or two possible, but as long as there's a set of Eidus that are kosher, left over kosher Eidim from between this the group of Eidim, then the din will be that the Eidus will be good. Rabbi argues, whether it's din mamas or din nefashis, if one of the Eidim found to be possible from the whole group of Eidim, the whole Eidus is batal. And when we say by din nefashis that it's going to be batal if one is a cut of an apostle, is mashi hisbahem. Even that even the Eidim who were kreim apsulim participated in warning the accused one. But in the time when the kreim apsulim did not participate in warning the accused one from being over the aveda of killing, so then it's the halachi will be that the Eids Shedim are not going to be batal, because my Yasish Neyachim Sharo Be'echad Sharek Zanefesh. What are you going to do if two brothers were part of the group of Eidim that had seen the Reuben killing Shimon, but only one of the brothers participated in being an aid? And so what are you going to say? Because his brother saw it, so he's also automatically considered as part of the Eidim, and if they become Kraven and the Eidus is batal? Zok the Gemara, Rav is going to explain in which Eifen is all the Eidim considered Keidus Achas. Amar Rav said, "Hu sheyidu klum." This din is only naig if all the Eidim testified b'terkidei dibur, all in the shear of the time that it takes for a person to say the word Shalom Alecha Rebbe. If in that time all the Eidim participated together, then it's considered as one group of Eidim. In fact, let's look into this. How is it talking about that in the span of time, in such a short span of time, that it takes for a Talmud to say to Rav, how is it possible that all the Eidim should come in within this span of time and testify Meya Eidim? There's a lot, and it's going to take way more than the span of time of saying Shalom Alecha Rabbi Amalei. So Avinu said back to Rav Achmed, it means that if the one aid had testified within Teichidei Dibur of saying Shalom Alecha Rabbi, the second aid came and testified, and so too the third within the second of Shalom Alecha Rabbi, he said his testimony. And not that all the testimonies have to be finished in the span of time of saying Shalom Alecha Rabbi. Rather, between each aid, there has to be Teich Kidei in the Zman of Shalom Alecha Rabbi. From the one to the second and second to the third, it has to be connected within the time of saying Shalom Alecha Rabbi. Rabbi Akiva Yimel Abal Shlishi Chulu Mashnayim. Says the Gemara, when do we say that the Eidim are considered as part of the group? In the time when the Eidim, even the Kraven, participated in warning, so then it passes the whole Eidus. But if the Kraven did not participate in warning, then it's not going to be batal Eidus. Only according to Rabbi Yossi, who holds that even if the Kraven did not warn the Kraven or the Psum did not warn the accused one, and they didn't have in mind to testify, nevertheless, if they're a relative of those that were testifying, the Eidus is batal because they had seen it together with the brother, that's automatically considered as Eidus. In fact, Yimara Harug Yatzel. In fact, the Yimara Eidim that had seen, had Reuven killed Shimon, should not be able to testify in Bezdin because the one who was killed also saw the killer, and he's being mitzvah with the other Eidim, and since the one who was being killed is being mitzvah as a Eid, and he's a cut of Eitz Latzma, and he cannot testify, so that's considered as one of them being a cut of apostle who's testifying, which the whole Eidus becomes batal. If it's talking about that he killed him from the back and he didn't see, the one who was sodomized should save the Eidim that had seen them, see the Reiva, the one that's sodomizing his friend with the will of the one who's being sodomized, shouldn't be able to testify in Bezdin and be Mechayiv Misa, because the one who was sodomized saw the one who was sodomizing him, and he's combined with the Eidim, and since the Nirva is the Adam Rasha, he's Pasal Eidus, so he should pass all the Eidus. He couldn't, and the one who was sodomized couldn't testify because it happened from the back. Let the killer or the one who is sodomizing say they want to participate in the Eidus against himself, and automatically the Eidus would become Pasal. Ishtik. Abai kept quiet. He didn't know what to answer on this kasha. When Abai came before Rava and he asked him, Amalei, Rava asked Amalei, Rava said, you can answer the kasha that the Heirig and the Reveya are not mitzvah with the other Eidim. It says, Al Pishnai Eidim, or Pishlesh Eidim Yakum Dava. So you can learn out from the words of the Pasuk, Kidim Akaimit Dava, Hakasim Dava. It's talking about only such Eidim which through their testimony it will be accepted in Eidus, excluding a Heirig and a Reveya, or the Nerek and the Nirva, the killer and the sodomizer, or the one that was killed and the one that was sodomized, they're not included because they cannot be Mekayim Eidus. Therefore, they cannot participate in being Mevatel Eidus. Rabbi Yosef said, V'chulu ma yasa shnei yachim chulu Rabbi Yomer v'chulu. So v'masai only in the time when he warns them. How could you ask the Eidim to figure out if they had intended to testify or not? Did you, at the beginning, did you come just to see, or you came to testify? If they said they came to testify, if they all say they came to testify, and you find one of them being a Karav apostle, then the Eidus is apostle. But if they say they only came to see, Ma Yasu, they're not going to be mevatel the whole Eidus, because Ma Yasu Shnei Yachim, what should two brothers from the Shuk who had Sharok Yachid that they saw together, Sharis and Nefesh, that Reuben killed Shimon, and one of the brothers are not planning on testifying? It's automatically an apostle Eidus? Of course not. Itma Mingalant Am Rav Yehuda Mashmol Halak Rav Yosi. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel that even if you found, the halach is like Rav Yosi, even if you found one of the Eidim to be a Karav apostle, it's not mevatel the whole Eidus. Silent, even if they crave him, did not, and the crave and the psulim did not warn, and they didn't have a chatchila in mind to testify. Nevertheless, they're mevatel the whole Eidus. I'm sorry, Rabbi Yossi says it's mevatel the whole Eidus. Rav Nachman halach Rebbe. Rav Nachman says that halach is like Rebbe, that if only, even by dinim mamanas, if you found one of the Eidim to be a Karav apostle, the whole Eidus is batal. And according to Rav Yehuda Amarav, the halach is Rabbi Yossi, by dinim mamanas, it's not going to be batal. And by dinim fashes, the halacha, Rav Nachman says the halacha is like Rebbe, that only if they warned, meaning they had a mind lechatchila to testify with the kshedim, so then the other ones will not, even though Kreim had seen the case, it's not going to be mevatel the Eidus according to Rebbe, and Rav Nachman says the halacha is like Rebbe, and Rav Yehuda Mishmol says the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Even if the brothers didn't warn the accuser, they're considered as part of the Eidus, and it's going to be mevatel the Eidus. But by Din Mamonis, they're going to say it's not going to be Mavatal, and by Rav Nachman, who holds like Rebbe, by Din Mamonis, it will be Mavatal. Sagt die Gemara, sagt the Mishnah, if there were two Eidim that saw a person being from one window, and two other Eidim saw from the other window. And one is warning the accused one from doing an Aveda. He's standing between the two groups of Eidim. Even if one aid of each group saw each other, they become combined into one group of aids. But if one of the aidim did not, of one group did not see, and the other aid of the other group, it's considered as two groups. If you found one of the groups to be zayimim, who behain the Eidim that were caught to be Muslim, and the one that's being accused, not going to get killed because the second pair of Eidim, the second Eidim who testify are Potter, and the valid Eidim, and therefore the accused one is getting killed. The Eidim have to warn the accused one himself, and you cannot have an outsider warning them. And if the Eidim themselves weren't the ones that warned the accused one, then the accused one is not going to get killed. And we learn out that it has to be all done through the testimony of the Eidim, the warning with the testimony. Another pshat is come to tell us that the Sanhedrin should not be able to hear the testimony through an interpreter. How do we know if Eidus Miuchedes means if one saw from one window and another saw from another window, and they cannot see each other? That's going to be possible because it says they shouldn't be the accused one should not die according to the testimony of one aid. What is the kavanah of the word echad, that you cannot kill him through aid echad? If you can say aid echad, mamash means literally one aid. But you want to we already know from the beginning of the pasuk al pi shnayim eidim. So it's dafka through two eidim. Elamai, only what was the kavanah of the pasuk that shaloyim al pi aid echad, that one was testifying from one window, the other from another window. Even though there are two eidim, nevertheless they don't get combined, and they're considered as one aid. Tanya Nami we learned in the Brisa similarly. You should not die through the testimony of one aid. Lahavi, to include shnayim, two aidim sharei ma'isai, that see the nidoin. One sees the one from one window, and one sees from the other window. But the aidim do not see each other. They don't get combined, and the accused one doesn't get killed based on their testimony. Not only in such a way, they're not going to be combined. Even if it's one after the other from the same window, they're not going to be combined. One saw from this one, one saw from the other window. Each one saw the whole action, the whole killing. You said, nevertheless, they're not going to be combined, even though each one saw the whole incident. When it's from the same window, one after the other, each one only saw half a story. For sure, they shouldn't be combined as Eidos. Abai answer our papa, we're talking about somebody who committed adultery. And in that case, Rava said that im hoyu, if the Eidim had seen the one that was warning. 1 minute. So first of all, he wants to tell you that by Bailas Haba, it's enough to see, each aid is enough to see to be Mechai v'Misa. Each one could see B'zah Chazah and be Mitzvah L'Chayda L'Eidas Hachas, and they were by the same window, so maybe we should combine them as Eidas. And that's what he's kamashmal, that we're not. Rava said, even though we learned in the Braisa, two people had seen Eidus, one from this window, one from another window, if they don't see each other, they don't get combined. The Komakim, but if they did see the warner, so the warner saw them, mitzvah, and they get combined to one Eidus. And they get and they get killed based on their testimony. And Rava said, this Hasad, the Chacham said to warn for somebody who's committing a Aveda, it doesn't have to be from the Eidim, even from the killer himself. He warned him, don't kill me. And he said he's warned him, even from a shed, it's considered as a warning. Rav Nachman said, Eidus Miuchedes, when one saw from one window, one saw from the other window, even though it's possible by din of fashes, but nevertheless, by din of mamis, it's going to be kosher. And in the Braisa we learn from this passage, we learn now Eidus Miuchedes is possible only by din of fashes who they sheda. It says over there the lashon lo yumas al piyei dechad. By Eidus Miuchedes, where one saw from one window and one from another window, only by din of fashes, it's not going to be kosher. But din mamin is sheda by din mamin, it will be kosher. Now that you say Eidus Miuchedes is kosher by din mamin, and they get combined as one Eidus, but you want to have the din of fashes, we should combine them, because with Tatzon we should save aside the second group, because we say that that should be combined to one group, and since not all of them were muzam, only two of them out of the four were muzam, so and also we shouldn't kill the accused one. We should be able to save everybody. Why do we learn the accused one and the eight should get killed? We have to look for a way to save them. If by din mabinsa helps, it should help by din nefashis in order to save the accused ones from Misa. The Torah says v'tzilas eida kasha. So the Gemara blind by kasha. Rabbi Yosi says, La'ilam, they don't get killed until the two Eidim themselves give the Hasa. So from the Rav Rabbi Yosi, we learn out that the Hasa is one of the vital conditions in each case in order to give the punishment to Misa. So, in fact, those Rav Yosi hold of this Vara, meaning how that the Eidim themselves have to warn. We learned in the Mishnah, Rav Yosi, a person who hates his who hates his friend, and he killed him, and he tinies that he called b'shegig, he's not believed. Rather, he gets killed in Besdin, even though they didn't warn him in the Chatchila. He's like a person who was already warned that he was able on the Asar, and he gets killed. Because Vavdei, for sure, he had in mind to kill him because he hates him. So you find, according to Rabbi Yosi, you don't need that the Eidim themselves should warn the Nidain. And this is a contradiction to his words in our Mishnah. Abaye said back to our Papa, who Rabbi Yosi, that's mentioned in the Mishnah, the following Mishnah, is not the Rabbi Yosi that's mentioned in our Mishnah, which is Rabbi Yosi ben Chalafta. Only mentioned Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yehuda. Tanya, we learned from Rabbi Isa. Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yehuda says, Chava Talmud Chochem ain't tzarich hasa. He doesn't need a warning. Rather, he gets killed even if he wasn't warned. The Hasa was only for people to notify the one that's being warned that he's being Eivan Isa, because maybe he doesn't know that it's Asa, but a Talmud Chacham doesn't need a warning. He surely knows it's forbidden to do so. So that's according to Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Yehuda, who says you don't need Asa. We learned now Mishnah, but the Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Chalafta says you do need Asa. We learned now Mishnah that according to the testimony of two Eidim, and the Sanhedrin should not hear it from the mouth of an interpreter. There was a mice with Eidim who spoke a different language. They came in front of the Bezdin of Rava. Rava put up interpreter between them. How was he allowed to put an interpreter if we said interpreter is not is forbidden, is not good? Well, Tanan, and we learned now Mishnah, we said that the Sanhedrin shouldn't listen to the mouth of an interpreter. And the Gemara, Rav made a have a yodam, have a hamri. Rav knew exactly what the Edom were testifying. He didn't need. He didn't have to have the interpreter. He just didn't know how to speak the language fluently. That's why he used the interpreter to give over the words back to the Edom for if he had any questions. The Gemara brings now a story with Eidei Avad that they were craving to the Arev. So there was Elah with Tuvia. They testified about Ruvain that lent money to Shimon, and there were no, the Edom were not craving not to Ruvain nor to Shimon, not to the Malva or to the Levi. Rather, they were craving the Avahava. They were craving of Levi, who was the guarantor for the loan. So Rav Papa Lamema, so Rav Papa thought to say there's no psul. Because Lagabi Levi Amalva Rechikininu. Because Lagabi Levi and the Malva, they're distance, they're not craving. I'm like, Rav Papa, how could you be machshav the Eidis? Hadei Islay Levi love Basa Ava Azul Malva. If there wouldn't be money for the Levi, would the Malva not go and try to get paid up by the Arev? So you see, this Eidis is even though it's craving to the Arev, but these Eidim who are craving to him should be puzzled to testify in this halva. Will the Malva not go after the Arev to collect the Chayiv? Therefore, the Arev is one of the Baladinim. He's puzzled. The Eidim are puzzled if they're craving to the Arev.